Sonic Adventure 2 is by far everybody's favorite Sonic game, apparently. It is the most overrated Sonic game. A lot of people like this game. I like this game. But do I think it's one of the best Sonic games out there? It is, but it has some flaws. For me. I know a lot of people are going to be coming here and bitching in the comments saying, "Oh, you are so wrong. This game is peak." There is nothing wrong with it. There is a lot of things wrong with this game, and I just recently played it. Yes, it's nostalgic, so I understand why a lot of people like this game. But in my honest thoughts, I think Sonic Adventure 1 is better. There are some good things I have to say about this game, and there's some bad things I have to say about this game. Every time I make a poll, and I put Sonic Adventure 2 on there, it always wins. I could put which one has better graphics, and guess what? Guess what's gonna win? This game. That's how overrated this game is. Because no matter what I put, it always wins every poll. Look, I understand why a lot of people like Sonic Adventure 2. It brought one of the best Sonic characters ever. Shadow is a really well-written character, but he's extremely overrated to the point where Sega only focuses on Shadow more than Sonic. We had the year of Shadow, and they're still continuing this. They killed him off in Sonic Adventure 2, and they brought him back because of popularity, which actually kind of makes sense because Shadow could be brought back to life. But he's just, he's too much now. Sega's just doing too much with him. And then we had Rouge, a character I actually really like, and everybody's favorite furry awakening. Yeah, so I also understand why a lot of people like this game is because they brought, one of the best Sonic characters, Rouge and Shadow. But with Rouge, they hardly do anything with her. And with Shadow, they do too much with him. So here's probably the part where all of you are gonna get mad. I do not like the treasure hunting stages. I've always hated it. I don't like looking for anything. It's more reasonable for Sonic Adventure because Knuckles is the one looking for the Master Emerald because of chaos. But in this game, he's looking for the Master Emerald pieces because, plot. Rouge, I understand. But Knuckles, not really. He's just there to be a rival for Rouge. And I don't like the stage because you have 15 minutes and she says, "Give me 5 minutes to look for the emeralds," and I just think that's very stupid. Yeah, so the treasure hunting stages aren't really my thing. It never really was. A lot of people do like it, so I guess go for it. I don't care. But I do have to say that the music in this game is just fantastic. I actually like it more than Sonic Adventure because you can recognize any musical piece from this game and instantly you could recognize any of them. I mean, look at City Escape. Anybody can recognize where that song is from. Speaking of the stages with Sonic and Shadow, these are the best. This is the reason why I like Sonic Adventure 2. In Sonic Adventure 1, it's harder to control Sonic because he's just way too fast in that game. And this game, it's easier to control. Yeah, you actually get to control Sonic better in this game than you do with Sonic Adventure 1. In Sonic Adventure 1, he glitches out so much you can't really control him. And he just spins off out of nowhere. And in this game, he doesn't go too fast, but he doesn't go too slow either. It's perfect. It's perfect the way he controls in his game. I could say the same thing about Shadow because Shadow controls perfectly in this game. But here's the problem with Shadow. You only get to do 4 stages with him. And that's it. Yeah, 4 stages just to use Shadow. And then the other stages are just Eggman and Rouge. And it's unfair because he is the highlight of this game. And I'm just here thinking to myself, why only 4 stages? Why couldn't we get more? Why do we have to focus more on Eggman? And Eggman stages are just terrible. Don't get me started on that because I'm going to discuss that later. Look, I'm just saying, we could have gotten more stages out of, Shadow if they focus more on Sonic and Shadow, if you know what I mean. Because I didn't even have fun with using the other characters. I had more fun using Sonic and Shadow, and that's it. Because that whole game is just basically about speed. The Sonic series has always been about speed. And you're going to tell me that I have to use the other slow-ass characters or look for treasure hunting just to make the game better, which wasn't. For a lot of people, it wasn't really fun at all. Yes, a lot of people complain about the treasure hunting and the mechanics with Tails and Eggman. But for the highlight of this game, Sonic and Shadow are the main reasons why to play this game. Well, for some people like me, but for others, I think they just like the whole package. So with Tails and Eggman, because my god, those are the worst stages. I really hate how slow Tails and Eggman are in this game. They are extremely slow and it bothers me. There is hardly any space for you to walk in this game when you use Tails and Eggman. I mean, I understand that the game is linear. I mean, it's Sonic, obviously. But there's no space for you to walk. You can say all the things you want about Gamma, but at least with Gamma, there's more space to walk with Gamma. When you use Gamma, there's actually more space to walk around. He's faster. He doesn't feel very heavy when you use him. And with Tails and Eggman, they feel so heavy that you can't really control them well. And I never really understood how people defend this. I don't understand what you see in this. I mean, it is the first time you get to use Eggman, which is actually a pretty fun thing. But guess what? Guess who else you could have used if Eggman wasn't playable? Metal Sonic! Yeah, why couldn't Metal Sonic be playable for this game? He could have a potential role for this game instead of Eggman. The only time you get to use Metal Sonic is in 2-player mode. You know how amazing it would have been if we had 2 Edgy the Hedgies? We would have had Metal Sonic, we would have Shadow. That would have been amazing. But no, we cannot use him. We only get to use Eggman. And look, I like Eggman, but as a playable character, he doesn't function well. And this is my point right here, why he doesn't function well as a playable character. He's too slow, and then if we ever get to use him again, we're gonna have to use his mechanic again. And the only reason why they created this is because they need to match somebody for Eggman. And so they did this to Tails too, and I don't like also how Tails function because it's basically the same thing. So yeah, we have to use the same mechanics as Eggman for Tails because they needed somebody to match Eggman with. And I just think that's dumb. So what, he couldn't have been like in Sonic Adventure where you actually get to control him and he's faster? We could have done that. We couldn't have Metal Sonic and Tails go at it each other. We have to use Eggman's giant mechanic thing alongside Tails? I'm sorry, but I cannot say that this game is a masterpiece when you have this mechanic thing that you have to use with Eggman and Tails. You know what would have been better? If Tails and Metal Sonic were rivals. I would have loved to use Metal Sonic. I am a big fan of Metal Sonic. Eggman could have controlled Metal Sonic the entire time. That would have been better. Here's also another issue is that like Amy's in the game, but she doesn't really do much. She's also playable in the 2-player mode. She would have been more useful to the story, but it isn't until the end of the game where she actually does something. And that one moment is with Shadow. Yeah, look, I like the story for Sonic Adventure 2, but it isn't until this last moment here where I actually did not like at all. Because it isn't until the end where he actually remembers Maria's wish, and I thought that was so... It was just so random and out of nowhere. Yeah, until the last convenient moment, you actually remember Maria's wish. And yes, I do like how dark the story is, but that one moment there with Shadow and Amy was just random. It's just too random. It's a great story, but for that one moment alone, it just kind of ruins a lot of things, if you know what I mean. But I feel like they did that on purpose. But with the good aspects of this game is that I always did love the final boss. I always did love Live and Learn. I always did like using Sonic and Shadow. I always like to see them reunite and actually fight that last boss. And it's actually not a hard last boss too. I do remember like crying when I first saw Shadow died and I wanted him back, which thankfully he did come back in other games. But then years later, you know what happened. We got the Year of Shadow and now it's just doing too much. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's actually a good game for some things. But half of it is good, half of it is bad. It's not a masterpiece as people say it is. I think they only say that is because of nostalgia. So yes, I get why people like this game. I understand, okay? I understand why everybody loves Sonic Adventure 2. But Sonic Adventure 1 is a better game in my opinion. Even though the game also has a lot of flaws, I just think it's a better game. So yes, I get it, and I understand if you're mad because I'm saying my opinions about this game, and you're already triggered about everything that I said. But no, I don't consider this a masterpiece. It aged like milk. Because I swear to God, if I make another poll and Sonic Adventure is on there, it's gonna win definitely because that's how overrated it is. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just being honest. That's how much of a big deal this game is for a lot of people. So say all you want in the comments, but there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna have the same opinions as I do.